Hello, and welcome back to DCN series of podcasts of democracy in Limelight. I'm Nancy Mukarchian, DCN moderator and host. We're going to talk about the spread of conspiracy theories and disinformation. So welcome, Givi Gigitashvili, an open source analyst and digital researcher with versatile professional and research experience gathered in Georgia, Estonia, Latvia, Germany, and Poland. Also, please welcome Harut Manukyan, who is an election systems expert based in Yerevan. In Canada, he was elected as a school board trustee, which led him to focus on the way elections are designed. So I would like to ask the first question to Givi. So Givi, what is your expert's guide to conspiracy theory?
Hi, Nancy, and thank you so much for inviting me today to talk about conspiracy theories and disinformation. I would say that our main focus is on disinformation, and perhaps everybody agrees that conspiracy theories are also part of disinformation. To tell you briefly about our work, we are based in Tbilisi, and there is a research unit of Digital Forensic Research Lab, which is part of Atlantic Council, and we monitor information space in our region and also produce public reporting on disinformation as well as conspiracy theories that are circulating in this environment. So speaking about conspiracy theories specifically, I would say that such theories are flourishing during times of some great social or political uncertainties and upheavals. And nowadays, one of such uncertainties is associated with the coronavirus for sure. And we have plenty of conspiracy theories about the origin of coronavirus and so on and so forth. And such theories are kind of provide feeling to the people that they kind of have the control when they have to process some troubling and disturbing information. And such theories are also kind of trying to calming their fears of the unknown. And for them, for people who have this conspiracy mindset, these theories are just another way to deny reality or try to escape from uncertainty. And in general, conspiracy theories also involve some sort of nihilistic degree of skepticism towards the official account about certain events. And you may ask how they benefit from this and what is the added value of these people to push these conspiracy theories. Well, there are a couple of things that we can have in mind. Firstly, these conspiracy theories provide some sort of framework for understanding the world and bringing order to random events. I would say that the bottom line of people pushing these conspiracy theories is that they believe that big events always have some sort of big cause, because they just believe that there are no random things in the world out there, and there is always something big behind everything that is happening here. So, and they have this kind of attempts to create some framework to organize the events in this framework. Secondly, conspiracy theories can also distract them from facing their fears about uncertainty, right? So they believe that, for instance, like the world is going to the hell, but there is still some master plan. So there is someone who is managing, and they prefer to put a blame on this someone, like the conspirator, rather than like trying to guess or accept the official account, as I mentioned. And thirdly, conspiracy theories also provide them with the community of like-minded people, and in general, mostly people who are more vulnerable and who are like feel powerless are obsessed with these conspiracy theories, and these are people who are pushing such theories. So they always want to validate their worldview with someone else, and this is how these conspiracy communities are being created. And we can see online that there are so many people posting and spreading identical conspiracy theories, and this is probably part of their attempt to kind of validate these theories with each other. But also it's worth underlining that these people are not always consistent, and sometimes they have like contradictory explanations and theories of a certain event. And probably this should be also understood that they are not committed to this consistency, and that's why they kind of try to find several explanations at once of one event, and this is how they are trying to kind of get lost in their explanations, and kind of doesn't really leading to some convincing theories from their side. Yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you so much. Coming back to democracy above all, Harutjan, whether or not the activities and conspiracy theories mentioned by Givi, how they impact on democracy, how democracy can also survive this digital and theory age. What do you think about this?
Well, I think one thing that's very important is for elected politicians to be honest, and I mean completely honest with their constituents. Democracies are especially vulnerable to disinformation because, in an authoritarian government, there's still disinformation, but the government will control the media landscape to a large extent. The big problem with disinformation is when there's a little bit of truth inside it. For example, here in the South Caucasus landscape, there are a number of, let's say, Telegram channels that have access to some of it is true information, and they become the source of breaking news, particularly with issues with border incursions between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And when the government is not the first source of information, now people are assigning credibility to non-official channels that don't even have, a corporate registration, that don't have any accountability. And so once they start feeding the information landscape, that starts getting picked up by some actual media, refers to them, that uses them as a source. And now they have sort of this power where they can sprinkle in things that are either completely untrue or twisted in a way that they're talking about something that exists, but they're spinning it in a way that is untrue or misleading. And so the very important thing is for governments to go out and be the first one to inform their constituents. Often their constituents are going to be unhappy with this kind of news. And in a democracy where you get voted in by the people, maybe there's this natural tendency to hesitate to share information too openly. But I think it's important for official sources to regain their credibility. We talked about the coronavirus pandemic, so all of these conspiracies about the origin of the virus. In the beginning, official channels would say that, we've absolutely determined what the origin of the virus is, and any other theory is untrue. But these are very difficult things. So as soon as the official channels start doubting themselves, so a year later, this lab leak theory is back in the cards, and now people are not sure. Well, a year ago you told us that this is complete fabrication, and now people aren't sure what to believe. Are they going to go back to those conspiracy peddling sources who were spinning that narrative a year ago? So, sometimes you don't know what the true information is, and you have to go out there and say, this is our lead prospect, but ultimately these things are hard to figure out. And sometimes you need to be honest when there's bad news, to be the one that shares it, to keep that credibility. This isn't an easy thing. So for example, I do a lot of work with EVN Report, which is an online news magazine based in Yerevan. And when these breaking stories happen, you see it on a Telegram channel, but you have to wait for some kind of confirmation, like taking a car to the border to see what's going on takes a couple hours. And if an official source, if the government source is not going to confirm or deny something, or sometimes they deny and then hours later confirm, now you're just messed up the whole landscape. Your official sources are not able to get out the story, and you've lost control of the narrative. And I think this is dangerous, and it's a hard pill to swallow, to be the one to bear the bad news to the people that will be judging you in the future election.
The flow of information comes and goes, and the unlimited opportunities on social media like Facebook, Twitter, Telegram chats that you mentioned, how we can get out of this situation. Maybe Givi can also provide his expertise.
I would say that nowadays, definitely social media platforms should put more effort to stop the spread of conspiracy theories. And one of the ways to do this is to, for instance, team up with the local organizations in multiple countries who are fact-checking the information that is being spread online, and they are labeling once they find conspiracy theories. And also, in general, I think it's quite sensitive issue to approach people with conspiracy mindset, because I would say that we should not really try to ridicule those people who have this kind of mindset. And I think it would be more efficient if we first show some empathy, and if we try to build understanding with the people who are spreading conspiracy theories, because in some cases they genuinely believe in conspiracy theories, and basically our objective is to try to help them to open their mind, right? And that's why the communication with these people should be always very kind of sensitive, and also not aggressive, like in general, like it should be always based on some empathy. And when we try to also deconstruct their beliefs, maybe we can use those people who used to be obsessed with these conspiracy theories, but they kind of did some kind of exit from this. And we can then use these people to convince their fellows in truth rather than conspiracy theories. I mean, there are some former members of extremist communities. They are called sometimes exiters, and when they start saying counter messaging to conspiracy theories, they are seen more positively and they are remembered longer than messages that conspiracy theorist people receive from, let's say, fact checkers and so on and so forth. So there are multiple ways how to tackle the conspiracy theories and how to stop spreading them. But maybe it should be more like tailored in the context of different countries and communities that we are dealing with.
Harutan, do you maybe have anything more to add?
So actually, Kivi brought up a great point. And I think that eventually when somebody does begin to realize that a trusted source was not so trustworthy after all, there's sort of this connection with their own identity, that they've been so invested in this worldview that it becomes difficult to get out of it. And it's become sort of a identity crisis and resetting of values and perspectives. So definitely, I agree that a compassionate approach is best, and maybe that trusted source has become sort of a sentimental value attached to it, or something where that was their source of truth, and deconstructing that over time, that's a difficult process that I think it's not something that's going to happen in a 5-minute conversation, and it's definitely not going to happen through name calling. A lot of disinformation is about what people want to believe about the world, and just accepting things more easily because they wish that they were true. And I think sort of a more cynical mindset where even those closest to you don't immediately deserve your trust, and that you verify the media that you consume no matter what the source is, I think is an important step for people to take. And honestly, you know what? This is something that I struggle with as well. And it's not It's not a fringe issue. I think this is a very mass thing that societies as a whole will have to grapple with.
This was one of my biggest pleasures to talk about this issue with our regional experts from Armenia, from Georgia. Special thanks to the audience also listening to us. Keep updated about DCN podcast on Spotify and many other channels. Thank you for listening to us and hopefully see you next week. The following series of podcasts are being conducted by Digital Communication Network in partnership with Friedrich Naumann Foundation for Freedom and World Learning.